GBC and Star Ghana launch Ghana Wins Election 2016 projects.
320 AK-47 ammunition and others intercepted near Tamale.
And beleaguered Brazilian president to rally international support against her impeachment.
Good evening. It's time for News Hour live on GBC24 and GTV. My name is Sayoko Kwakutre.
I am Shirley Anan.
Now, the news in detail. About 250 girls between the ages 7 and 16 have been saved from child marriages.
The wife of the Vice President, Mrs. Matilda Misa Arthur, visited some of the 250 young girls rescued so far at Mamubi in Accra. Theodora Medeto reports.
Since the call on stakeholders, including parents, traditional and religious leaders, to support the government on the campaign to end child marriage, many individuals and organizations have been making the effort to ensure that girls and young women enjoy their fundamental human right. One such organization is the Achievers Ghana, a not-for-profit organization that has pitched camp in the heart of Mamprobi, a suburb of Accra, for about 5 years now. Achievers Ghana has so far saved some 250 girls between the ages 7 and 16 from the cultural practice of child marriage and is empowering them by sponsoring their education. The foundation is also mentoring the girls and teaching them leadership and ICT skills. The director of Achievers Ghana, Mr. Amadou Mohamed, said the organization has made a lot of progress through community sensitization on the need to educate girls and women.
We have 17 of them completing SHS this year, and then in total we have 24 in SHLs now, and we have over 100 in the JHS, and then some small portion upper and lower primary over there. We teach them to establish their own website, we create their own mobile application, and this is also part of our skills development. We think that if you are able to train them to have that skills, they'll be able to bridge the gap between the male and female.
As part of a mentorship initiative, the foundation arranged for the wife of the Vice President, Mrs. Matilda Misa Arthur, to visit the girls. Mrs. Misa Arthur reminded the girls of how lucky they are to have people advocating for their rights and taking care of them. She encouraged them to take advantage of the opportunity.
Even though we are saying that as children and as women, don't even worry about your background. We don't mean that just sit down and things will fall in your lap and everything will come to you. What we mean is that work hard, persevere, determine, live a life of truthfulness, be disciplined. And when you do this, the other things will follow. That is why you are one of the achievers.
Mrs. Misa Arthur distributed storybooks to the girls as a way of encouraging them to cultivate the habit of reading. Opinion leaders in the community were grateful for Mrs. Misa Arthur's visit, saying it was a motivation for the girls to aim high in life. They praised the foundation for the important work it is doing. 70% of funding for the foundation's activities is generated through support from the community. The remaining 30% comes from international donor agencies such as the Global Fund for Children and Yazzie Foundation based in Holland. Theodora Medeto, GBC24, Accra.
The Ghana Broadcasting Corporation, in collaboration with Star Ghana, has launched the State Broadcasters Ghana Wins Election 2016 project in Dodowa. The project would focus on electoral education, coverage and programming to ensure a credible, peaceful and transparent elections come November 7. The Acting Director General of GBC, Mrs. Francisca Ashido-Dunton, commended Star Ghana for its support and said ensuring a peaceful and credible election is the responsibility of every Ghanaian. The launch of GBC's Ghana Wins Election 2016 project was attended by political parties, the security services, chiefs and members of the Ghana Federation of the Disabled. The media plays an important role in conducting elections, be it at the local or national level. Whether the country remains peaceful before and after the election or not will depend largely on the responsible and professional conduct of the media. For this reason, GBC, being the state broadcaster, is spearheading in ensuring that this year's general elections is peaceful, credible and acceptable by all. GBC won sponsorship for its Ghana Wins Election 2016 project after competing with over 300 institutions. The $75,000 from Star Ghana would help the state broadcaster to engage in electoral education programs and also provide equal airtime for all political parties. Close to the heart of the project planners is how to reduce rejected ballots in this year's elections.
Why is it the case that so-called hotspots emerge mainly during the election season and disappear afterwards? While we await a solution to this phenomenon, there's a contribution we as the public service broadcaster with the widest radio and television networks in Ghana can make. We shall work with the Peace Council, political parties, chiefs and the security agencies, providing them all manner of platforms to touch the hearts of as many people as possible to see the need to maintain the peace before, during, and after this year's general elections.
The General Secretary of the Christian Council of Ghana, Reverend Dr. Kwabno Punifempong, said enough has been said already about ensuring peaceful elections, and it is now time to focus on electing the right people into office. The project manager of Star Ghana, Ibrahim Tanko Amidou, lauded GBC's role in deepening democracy in Ghana and challenged the state broadcaster and other institutions to look beyond the 2016 elections.
This again was one of the projects that we will look back on and see if the history of the 2016 elections are going to be told. If the history is going to be told, GBC will be one of the key actors that will be mentioned as having done a lot.
The political parties, the security services, the Electoral Commission and the Ghana Federation of the Disabled pledged to ensure that this year's elections is peaceful and credible. The Acting Director General of GBC, Mrs. Francisca Ashido-Dunton, said reinforcing the credibility of the elections is the responsibility of all Ghanaians.
Ghana has established a distinguished electoral record since the return to multi-party democracy. However, each election has seen tempers flare and accusations of electoral malpractice fly. In the forthcoming November 2016 elections, we, the media, as well as every Ghanaian, must aim to reinforce the credibility of our elections in order to enjoy the full benefits of democracy, which include peace, security, respect for human rights, and the rule of law.
Supported by Star Ghana, strengthening transparency, accountability, and responsiveness in Ghana.
Two more High Court judges implicated in the judicial bribery scandal by Anas Arimiyao Anas have been removed from office by the Chief Justice, Mrs. Georgina Theodora Wood, on grounds of stated misbehavior. They are Justices Kofi Essel Mensah, a Human Rights Court judge, and Francis K. Opoku, a Justice of the High Court at Bolgatanga. A statement signed by the Judicial Service Secretary, Alex Pokwa-Champon, said the Chief Justice took the decision based on the recommendation of President John Mahama. The statement ordered the judges to hand over their bungalows and all official property in their possession, including their official vehicles, dockets, and record books to the Judicial Secretary. In the case of Justice K. Poku, the statement said a second petition for his removal from office was submitted to the President by the Judicial Council on October 29, 2015 on grounds of stated misbehavior and incompetence following complaints about his failure to sit regularly as a justice of the High Court at Bolgatanga in the Upper East region. Investigations by the Chief Justice Committee found out that Justice Poku had engaged in ex-parte discussions with agents of ANAS of Tiger Eye PI in respect of the case Webajua Basliam versus Kamponga Kunipwa, contrary to Rule 3.7 of the Code of Conduct for Judges and Magistrates. In the case of Justice Mensah, the committee concluded that he secretly had a discussion with members of Tiger Eye PI team about a bail application in the case of the Republic versus Mohammed Niba, for which 5,000 Ghana cedis was paid to him through Gabriel Achina, a court staff. A national stop crime campaign has been launched in Accra. The program, which is supported by the Ghana Prison Service, the Ghana Police Service and other stakeholders, is the initiative of Prisons Ambassador Extraordinaire Ibrahim Opon Kwaten.
Concerns have been raised over the years by various stakeholders about the deplorable state of the country's prisons. In line with the objective to improve conditions, the Ghana Prisons Council, in collaboration with its partners, has introduced the Fiasi project. It is to sensitize the youth about crime and also bring scenes at the prisons closer to the people. That Prisons Ambassador Extraordinaire, who is also a journalist with the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation, Mr. Ibrahim Kwating, has outdoored the Crime Check Foundation and launched the National Stop Crime campaign.
I believe most of our brothers and sisters who find themselves in prison will not have been there if they had an idea of what the real prison picture looked like. I have decided to bring the real prison package to you on television, radio, commercial vehicles, for the public to appreciate the conditions that would have deterred most of them from committing crime.
The Managing Director of Alliance Waste, Mr. A.B.A.J., said the videos from the prisons will guide the public in their actions and behaviors. The British High Commissioner, Mr. John Benjamin, said the launch of the National Stop Crime campaign was timely, especially as the country prepares for the November polls. The Eastern Regional Minister, Madame Mavis Amafrimpong, said fighting crime is a collective responsibility.
You can talk about it. I can talk about it. Your sister out there can speak about it. We can also share the experiences. When we are able to check crimes, we will instill discipline in our young people, and together we can ensure a safety Ghana. On that note, I would want to add my voice that for us to support this worthy team, if we can contribute a little.
The Ghana Prison Service, the Ghana Police Service, Chocho Industries and Alliance Waste pledged their support to stop crime in the country. Some personalities who have also supported the Crime Check Foundation were honored.
The Northern Regional Police Command has intercepted 320 AK-47 ammunition and 2 sets of empty cat magazines concealed in a bus at Savalugu near Tamale in the Northern Region. 28-year-old Yusuf Salifu has been arrested in connection with the seized ammunition. According to the Savalugu Police Commander, ASP Kojo Tewia, the incident occurred on a bus heading to Kumasi from Bolgatanga. The suspect is currently in police custody, assisting with investigations.
The Kpong thermal plant of the Volta River Authority is currently firing on distillate fuel oil, otherwise called diesel, to produce 100 megawatts of electricity. This is as a result of unavailable gas from the West African gas pipeline and the FPSO of Cape 3 Points. Engineers on the Kpong thermal plant are able to achieve this milestone because the thermal plant runs on multiple fuel with a hope to producing 200 megawatts in a couple of months. Nuto Bibini Nuto has more.
The Volta River Authority's thermal power plant at Kpong is currently in its first stage of construction with 2 units installed. Of the 2, only one is operational and has been running on gas from either the West African gas pipeline or the FPSO until the 2 sources had challenges. The thermal plant had to switch to distillate fuel oil, otherwise known as diesel, so as to keep producing at optimum the 100 megawatts of power. The board members of the Volta River Authority witnessed the switchover. Engineers were sure that upon completing some mechanical works on the second unit, another 100 megawatts would be produced to reach the 200 megawatts capacity. But that is not all. There are future plans to trap the steam, which is currently being released into the open air, to produce an extra 100 megawatts by fixing a heat recovery steam generator, a process that will ensure that there is no waste product.
Combined cycle means that the steam that is being generated through some mechanical processes will be converted into power. So you have an extra 110 megawatts of power. For the generation of this power, we are not going to burn any fuel. We are going to convert the steam from the fuel we are burning right now to 110 megawatts. So you have 300 at least megawatts of power. That's good power to help us solve problems.
All of these are in the first phase. The second will see an expansion and installation of 2 more units, making 4. If recovery steam generators are in place for the entire project, the Kpong thermal power plant alone could be producing some 750 megawatts at optimum, a move that could contribute to achieving the 5,000 megawatts national target by 2020. The question is, with the plant sited close to human settlements, is it environmentally sustainable and secured?
We are in constant discussion with the army and the police to make sure this place is well covered. But you know, this place is not close it's very close to Accra. I'm sure somebody sitting somewhere is seeing this plant every minute, because with Google Earth you can see whatever is happening.
With this thermal plant producing 100 megawatts, a combined supply from Akosombo, Kpong, Bui, thermal plants at Takrady, and the independent power producers at the Kpong Enclave, Ghana has enough power to supply local consumers. It only targets the ambitious 5,000 megawatts to meet both local and sub-regional consumers through the West African power pool. Nto Bibininto, GBC24, boom.
Security experts have reiterated that nuclear terrorism remains one of the most challenging threats to international peace and security. A one-week capacity-building seminar on nuclear security and non-proliferation is underway in Accra. Participants from 15 African countries, including Ghana, Sudan, Zimbabwe, Kenya, and Malawi. A report by Theodora Amedeto.
After the September 11 terrorist attacks on the World Trade Center in New York, nuclear security became a signature initiative of President Barack Obama, who declared in 2009 that the greatest threat to humanity was nuclear terrorism, following the declaration of terrorist intention to either steal a nuclear bomb or nuclear material and use it to cause great havoc in the world. Mr. Obama convened the first Nuclear Security Summit in 2010 and called on heads of state and international organizations to build political support to combat nuclear terrorism, a threat that has no borders. This call set the pace for subsequent nuclear summit in 2012, 2014 and 2016, all aimed at ensuring that nuclear and radiological materials that are the ingredient for nuclear bomb or a radiological explosive device referred to as the dirty bomb never falls into the hands of terrorists. The capacity building workshop on nuclear security and non-proliferation underway in Accra is to provide participants with a solid understanding of nuclear security and non-proliferation regimes and policies.
Governments around the world, including Africa and their citizens, must stand up to educate their people, build capacity, and set up frameworks that will lock down and secure these materials, never to fall into the hands of terrorists.
The Deputy Director of James Martin Center for Non-Proliferation Studies at Middlebury Institute of International Studies at Montreal, Ms. Elena Sokova, praised Ghana for her effort at bringing other African countries on board to help fight nuclear terrorism.
Ghana became one of the first countries in Africa to establish Nuclear Security Support Center, and it has been active for over 5 years already. We're very pleased that Ghana has played this role in bringing other neighboring countries.
A senior fellow of the Middlebury Institute of International Studies at Montreal observed that much as African countries need a lot of radiotherapy machines for the treatment of cancers, African leaders must also ensure that such machines arrive safely without posing the risk of radiological terrorism of dirty bombs. Theodora Medeto, GBC24, Accra.
We have business coming up. Please stay with us.
Good evening. Welcome to the business news. My name is Esther Adu. New payment systems such as mobile money platforms and virtual currency is in vogue now. Identifying and dealing with risks associated with the use of the new payment methods has, however, been a challenge. Ghana is therefore stepping up efforts to educate players in the financial sector to ensure these new avenues of transacting business do not become a platform for money laundering.
Money laundering, which is a deliberate crime in which proceeds from illicit activities are transformed into legitimate money or other assets, has attracted the attention of the world for the past few years. The global financial system is being threatened with instability as transnational organized crime, such as money laundering, which thrives on anonymity, is on the increase. The infamous practice poses a threat to the Ghanaian economy, and in response to that, the Financial Intelligence Center FIC and E-Crime Bureau organized the training for financial institutions across the country to help them devise methods to mitigate the risks connected with new payment systems such as e-switch, virtual currency, e-banking, mobile money, as well as mobile payments such as Android Pay and Apple Pay. In an interview, the Deputy Chief Executive of the Financial Intelligence Center, FIC, Mr. Philip Danso, said because of the vulnerable nature of the new payment systems, caution must be taken to prevent its abuse in the long run.
This is a system that is very vulnerable to abuse. It presents anonymity, it presents speed. So when you're using these systems and you don't put in place adequate measures, you don't put in place effective measures that are effective to address or mitigate the vulnerability, then it will be a very, very, very lucrative area for money launderers to use to facilitate their money laundering activities.
He also cautioned that users of the new payment systems must be careful about giving out confidential information about themselves.
If you are giving a check to somebody, you have to be very careful that you don't leave any blank spaces for anybody to put in figures. If it is through electronic, you have your ID, you have your key words or the key numbers that you have, make sure that it doesn't fall into anybody's hands so that the person will use it to transact business that you are not aware of.
Players in the financial sector are optimistic the new payment system will help the Ghanaian community gain grounds on the international markets. However, individuals and institutions ought to be vigilant and not just rely on the legal way to resist money laundering.
Unibank Ghana has refurbished the Assembly Hall of the Accra Metropolitan Assembly at a cost of 100,000 Ghana cedis. The move forms part of the bank's drive to support government agencies to discharge their duties efficiently.
Ghana, a wholly owned Ghanaian bank, was established in 1997 to provide a range of banking services to its existing and potential customers, especially SMEs. Aside from banking services, Unibank also undertakes a number of corporate social activities based on societal needs. This includes the provision of water, school building, health equipment, among others. The latest is the refurbishment of the Assembly Hall of the Accra Metropolitan Assembly, fully furnished with new chairs and a projector, and it comes at a cost of 100,000 Ghana cedis. The Executive Hall and the office of the presiding member of the Assembly were also renovated. The head of new business at the retail department of the bank, Mr. Richard Anani, indicated that the refurbishment has created an ambience for a higher productivity.
The decision making is made here. You understand? I mean, where they sit to deliberate is not the best, it's not welcoming. They may end up close meetings even earlier than expected because the whole place is hot. They can't get even chairs to let people stay in. So I think this is the core of the decision-making process of the assembly. And if you're able to provide them with a very good ambience, very comfortable environment, trust me, I think that the deliberations will be deep, they will be more relaxing and welcoming.
The presiding member of the AMA, Mr. Thomas Ashon, was full of praise for the support by Unibank and promised to maintain the facility.
Continental Tire, manufacturers of passenger and light truck tires, has opened its office in Accra as part of its growth strategy in sub-Saharan Africa. The new division, Continental Tire West Africa, will focus on developing the local market and maximizing its exposure across the region.
Founded in Hanover, Germany in 1871, Continental Tire is one of the leading manufacturers of passenger and light truck tire in Europe and the world's fourth largest passenger tire manufacturer. It is also one of the world's leading manufacturers for commercial vehicle tires. In Africa, the Continental Tire West Africa's expanding retail presence is backed up by an extensive product portfolio covering all the major sectors. This includes passenger car, 4x4, SUV, pickup truck, commercial and specialty application. It will also target fleet, government, lease and rental business opportunities in Ghana. The managing director of Continental Tire Sub-Saharan Africa, Sean East, said the launch of the new West Africa legal entity is driven by the company's African Dawn initiative.
We plan to have a headquarter based in Accra, which will house all the functions required to autonomously manage our complete business interests for the region. These will include a complete finance and controlling department, operations department to control a regional distribution and logistics hub, which will also be based in Accra, a marketing and sales department to be close to the market and in the market, technical customer service department to ensure that our products and customers get the experience that they deserve with our brands.
The head of marketing and sales of Continental Tire South Africa, Ian Langlands, spoke to GBC24 about what the company aims to achieve in terms of market share in the tire industry.
We want to try and grow into the whole of West Africa, not just Ghana. However, in Ghana specifically, we have very ambitious targets. We would target about 10% market share in pretty much all of our segments of the market. That's also in passenger tires, in truck tires and in our specialty tires. However, we are also very dominant in South Africa in 4x4 tires. We have probably the leading 4x4 tie in our market. So we're putting a lot behind our 4x4 market. So there we have a higher percentage share. About 20% of the market will be that we will be aiming to capture in the 4x4 segment. And also in the port tires, where we have a very, very strong and excellent tire for port operations, we're looking at about 15% market share for the Ghanaian market specifically.
Continental Tire has an existing presence in Ghana through a long-term partnership with Rainbow Motors.
The performance of the cedi against major trading partners is up next. On the commodities board, gold appreciated by $6.60 to trade at $1,259.80 an ounce. Welcome to the insurance news brought to you by SIC Life. GN Life Assurance is the latest addition to the group Indum conglomerate. GN Life is coming into a market where penetration is hovering around 5%, but the directors say they will drive on customer-centered strategy supported by a robust operating system to deliver quality services to clients.
Started in late 2014 when they received license from the National Insurance Commission to operate as a life insurance company. GN Life Assurance products and services include Smart Child Plan, the Smart Child Support Parents and Guardians to secure their ward's future education. The Passage Plan provides immediate cash payouts to policyholders to cover funeral expenses of loved ones. Group Life Plan is a single contract life insurance policy which covers an entire group of people. With just 1 year into the life insurance sector, GN Life can now boast of more than 10,000 customers across the country. Due to its partnership with GN Bank, GN Life has positioned its staff at the premises of the 227 branches of GN Bank across the country. The Chief Executive of GN Life Assurance, Mr. Fifi Simpson, indicated that the drive is to lead the insurance market in Ghana with a world-class service.
We will be very innovative in our approach to distribution. This would include the informal sector of our economy. After all, the informal sector is much, much bigger than the formal sector. Again, Group Life Assurance will also be an area of focus. And as evidence of this focus, GN Life is signing a credit life contract with Renaissance Capital Solutions, also known as Moneybucks, immediately after this launch. At the heart of our operations will be the prompt claim settlement and the customer-centered approach to our services.
The president of Group Indum, Dr. Papakwesi Indum, charged GN Life to change the face of life insurance with products that put the interest of customers first.
GN Life must work with enthusiasm, discipline, and innovation, and must become a popularly accepted, great and strong life protection and prosperity facilitator. And I would like for you to live your own slogan, GN Life, every life matters.
The Commissioner for Insurance, Madam Lydia Lariba Bauer, said her outfit will soon roll out a number of policies that will accelerate growth in the insurance industry.
The Commission has appointed an industry committee to make recommendations on compulsory insurance to help grow the penetration level, as well as provide reliable means of compensation for the unfortunate ones who suffer sicknesses, disability, bodily injury, death, or financial loss.
In order to deliver quality service to its clients, GN Life Assurance has signed a life credit contract with Renaissance Capital Solutions to assist it to provide life credit insurance for its clients.
And that's all for business. My name is Esther Edu Ohumeu. Thanks for watching.
Hello, good evening, and many thanks for joining us on the health segment here on News Hour. My name is Evans Achampon. For many people, eating outside the home is convenient, but it comes with some challenges, including contracting communicable diseases such as cholera. In 2014, Ghana lost over 700 lives to cholera. This year, the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development has declared a zero tolerance for cholera, with education of food vendors as one of its strategies.
Food vending is a common activity that goes on at almost every corner in the country, but some of these food vendors downplay on the importance of safety. The inability of food vendors to pay attention to safety issues, coupled with the unsanitary conditions across the country, contributed to the outbreak of cholera in 2014 and 2015. Over 20,000 people were affected by the disease, and 700 lives were lost. But to ensure that Ghana does not slide into the path of this disease, the Ministry of Local Government, together with the Ghana Health Service, is stepping up efforts to educate food vendors on food safety across the country. The Minister of Local Government and Rural Development, Collins Dauda, launched a zero tolerance for cholera campaign in Accra, starting from the ministry's canteen, also known as Rollins Canteen.
We are appealing to our women who cook and sell water that they should keep their environment very, very hygienic. Make sure there is no fecal matter around where you cook and sell your food. Also, when you visit the toilet, make sure you wash your hands very well with soap before you continue with your cooking or selling. And so we appeal to the general public, when they go to the choppers and the food is cooked, they must make sure the food is warmed up, it is hot before they take it.
A food vendor at the Rollins Canteen, Joyce Lai, said education on food safety will go a long way to not only create a clean environment for the customers, but also make their business attractive.
We are going to sit down with them and explain everything what the minister told us. Sanitation, cleanliness, how to cook your food, how to cover it, for them to do everything right.
The Local Government and Rural Development Ministry has received over 113,000 items from UNICEF to assist the ministry in its zero tolerance campaign. They include aprons, tablecloth, stickers and cholera flip charts. Cholera is an infectious disease that causes severe watery diarrhea and vomiting, which can lead to dehydration and even death if untreated. It is caused by eating food or drinking water contaminated by feces from a person with an infection with a bacterium called Vibrio cholerae. The disease is most common in places with poor sanitation and crowded places. The symptoms of cholera infection include diarrhea, nausea and vomiting, and development of dehydration within hours after the onset of cholera symptoms.
And now, to enhance the capacity of persons with disability in strategic planning and leadership skills, and to empower them to advocate for their rights, the Ghana Federation of Disability Organizations has launched a project dubbed Expanding Participation for Persons with Disabilities. The project is expected to be implemented in the 10 regions of Ghana.
Ghana and several parts of Africa People with disability are often ridiculed and exposed to various forms of harsh treatments. While some are accused of witchcraft, others are considered victims of a curse. Others still are isolated from their families. For this reason, the Ghana Federation of Disability Organizations, comprising of 7 disability organizations, including the Ghana Blind Union and the Ghana National Association of the Deaf, launched a project to empower people with disability. The Deputy Minister for Gender, Children and Social Protection, Madame De La Soa, commended the Federation for their efforts and urged them to be guided by the core values of USAID, which sponsored the project.
The Government of Ghana recognizes the Ghana Federation of the Disabled as a useful partner in addressing the concerns of persons with disability and affirms that it has the capacity to implement this project.
The United States Ambassador to Ghana, Robert Jackson, said he believes civil society organizations like the Ghana Federation of Disability Organizations are the key to ensuring responsive and effective governance in Ghana.
The U.S. government and the Ghana Federation of Disability Organizations will support more than 45 networks, coalitions, and organizations throughout Ghana so that they can more effectively advocate for Ghanaians with disabilities.
Some of the people with disability expressed gratitude to USAID.
It will be very helpful to us because it is going to strengthen the disability movement. People need capacity, people need knowledge in the various fields to advocate and to assert their rights.
Just let us think about the Sustainable Development Goals. It's a new emerging issue that we need to educate ourselves, we need to disseminate information, we need to get people active, we need to get involved.
The Ghana Federation of Disability Association was established in 1987. The project, which began this year, is expected to end in February 2018.
And that's all in the set we have for you by way of health news. We are back shortly after the break with international news. Don't go away.
In international news, FIFA ex-president Sepp Blatter says he was asked by the Swiss authorities to help ease Burundi's political crisis by offering the country's president a job. In a new book, Mr. Blatter says he offered keen football fan Pierre Nkurunziza an ambassadorial role in exchange for the leader stepping down. Mr. Nkurunziza declined and won a controversial third term in office. The Swiss Foreign Ministry confirmed it sought Mr. Blatter's help but denied seeking Mr. Nkurunziza's resignation. The intention was to contribute to a peaceful solution in order to prevent the current crisis in Burundi. The approach to Mr. Nkurunziza took place in May last year, shortly after the protest began against his attempt to win another term. The Burundian leader is known for his love for football. He owns his own side, Hallelujah FC, and once coached a Burundian First Division team.
Well, beleaguered Brazilian President Dilma Rousseff will travel to New York in a bid to rally international support against her impeachment, leaving behind a cabinet paralyzed by political crisis as another minister defected on Wednesday. Rousseff aides said the leftist leader will attend a United Nations event on Friday in New York, where she will denounce as illegal the attempt to impeach her, a process that could see her forced from office within weeks. In a process she calls a coup d'etat without weapons. Rousseff's impeachment will end 13 years of rule by the leftist Workers' Party 9 ministers in Rousseff's 31-member cabinet have now resigned, leaving important portfolios without politically appointed heads, including the tourism and sports ministries, only 4 months before Brazil hosts the Olympic Games. We'll bring you sports after this break.
Now sports. In the Italian Serie A league leaders, Juventus took another step towards retaining their title with a comfortable 3-0 victory over Lazio in Turin. Here are some highlights. Ashanti Gold Chief Executive Officer Mr. Kujo Fiano has been elected chairman of the Ghana League Clubs Association GALCA. The former administrative secretary polled 63 votes as his other contenders, Kofi Poku, Nanodro Safo and Isaac Compson, had 13 votes each. Mr. Fiano shared his thoughts with GBC24.
I wasn't surprised. The only surprise was how my other colleagues had 13. I worked around 60-65, and I think I achieved it with distinction. I am not going to do the day-to-day running. It is my duty to go around talking to sponsors, trying to get GTV to partner GACA. I look back with nostalgia. That special knockout that we played, we were looking for sponsors, and the then Director General, Madam Ivaloko, came around that, look, even though we did not have money to give you, let's play that tournament. We'll get money from sponsors, advertisers, and it was a GTV or GBC sponsored special knockout. Highly successful. That was the only major trophy won by RTU. The finals played on floor lights at Accra Sports Stadium, and that was the time there was this Dagbon crisis. There was curfew in the whole of Dagbon, but when the final whistle came from Accra Sports Stadium and RTU won that trophy, there was no curfew that day. So that should tell you the power of football. Football transcends political power. So that is what we want to do, and I will believe that when I come to GBC, I have this beautiful program. Partner me, and they partner me. Then together we can all help build Ghana football.
Well, entertainment news is next.
Time for the art segment. My name is Valerie Danso. An audience in Accra was treated to rhythms of a classical music composed by Ghana's legendary musicologist Professor J.H. Kwabena-Nketia. The show was dubbed An Evening with Professor J.H. Kwabena-Nketia, illuminating history, aesthetics, and philosophy. The event was held by the African University College of Communications to promote and appreciate classical African art music.
Emeritus Professor Kwabena-Nketia is a celebrated composer, an outstanding ethnomusicologist, and a prolific writer. He has over 200 scholarly publications and more than 80 classical African music compositions to his credit. At a historic event dubbed An Evening with Professor Kwabena-Nketia, the audience was treated to a classical African art music composition performed by Andrew Kweku Ajemfratete. The professor explained some of his classical African art music performed at the concert.
It's common practice all over the world to borrow instruments from another culture, and you treat it as your borrowed instrument of adoption. So in London I felt, yes, I can adopt the violin and I'll write my own music for it, and I'll get my British friends to them to play it, and they perform it in this sort of way. So it's a way of using the experience you are getting from outside to develop something of your own.
Some of the tunes had atumpan drums and percussion instruments such as flute, piano, cello, and violin. It was all about instrumentals and every song.
Her beliefs regarding the true nature of Ghanaian women, the trials, ambitions, celebrations and successes of ordinary but inspirational formed the central theme of her rich, colorful work as a painter. We had a chat with one of Ghana's first rising female painters. Here are excerpts.
Well, that's all in the news for now. Thank you so much for joining. We'll be back at 10:30 with News Tonight. Good evening.
Good evening.